Hello everybody, this is Jason with Breaking Waves Production, just here giving you a recap of the Apple event that happened early this morning. Now, they've announced a set of new iPods and, of course, the iPhone 5. So we'll start with the iPods real quick. We got the Nano. It has now gone under a complete redesign. We're now going back to the lengthier look. We got a 2.5-inch multi-touch screen on it, which is great. The third generation had a 2-inch screen. It was too small to watch video, but you still could. It's just kind of a little strainy. Then you got the fifth generation, which had a 2.2 inch display, still on the small side, but at least it was doable. So now we have a 2.5, which is about the same size as my Sony MP3 player. While it's still small, it's definitely viewable and watchable and should be a joy. The Nano now also has Bluetooth, which is a definitely very welcomed addition to the lineup, because if you remember my Mighty Dwarf Blue 2 review, now you compare these two together, and chances are, with the Nano being as small as it is, you'll probably be carrying that with you as well. So aside from your phone, you also got your Nano, and if you got your speaker with you, then bam, you got your music ready to go. Moving on, we got the iPod Touch 4, which is still relevant. They're still selling it. They're just gonna dunk the price a little bit to $199 instead of $229. You now get the 16GB version as opposed to the 8GB version. So now you get an extra 8GB to fill it with music, videos, and pictures, whatever you may want to throw on there. If you can't afford to get the new iPod Touch 5th generation for Christmas, then at least you can have something that's $100 cheaper, even though it's still $200, so it's still pretty expensive. But hey, $100 still goes a long way these days. Moving on to the iPod Touch 5. This has gone under a complete redesign as well, along with its iPod Nano. We now have a much thinner chassis, and that's all thanks to the new screen, which is, you got the screen, you got the multi-touch interface, and they have been fused together, so now there is no separate entities. They're both on one little platter, and they're doing the same thing, which is great, because now there's no chance for anything going wrong in between. It should reduce the glare a little bit, as well as allowing to have much sharper images and having a nice, good dynamic contrast. We also have a completely new camera on the back with full 1080p this time. So now, yeah, if you're running around and you happen to have your iPod Touch with you, you can now catch any funny actions. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of high-definition fun YouTube clips coming out once the iPod Touch 5 comes rolling out. In the back, there's also a little hook for you to hook just a little lanyard thing, which is great, because as thin as it was and tapered as it was, it probably was susceptible to a lot of drops. So having that little lanyard is definitely great. You can have it around your wrist, especially if you like to work out with your iPod Touch. If you don't really want to buy an armband, you just want to kind of have it in your hand as you run. Some people prefer that. Some people really do not like the armbands. So that's definitely a very welcomed addition. And of course, Apple being Apple, it's going to be their accessory line. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to really hit on the idea of using that hook for many, many other things. I'm going to assume there's probably going to be like one of those mountain climbing locks. I can't remember what they're called right now. I'm sure there's going to be one of those that's going to be attached to your iPod Touch, and then you slap it onto your purse or your backpack. That's just my guess. I'm sure it's going to come out. And I think that's it for the iPod Touch. Right there, yes. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the iPhone 5. We've seen pictures of it for like the last month. Parts been leaking daily since then. It was nothing like the iPhone 4 fiasco where everyone was like, holy crap, is this a new iPhone? Is this a new iPhone? If it was found in a bar. No, nothing like that this time. So it's pretty much exactly what we saw it would be. It was completely redesigned. We got an aluminum body in the back, which is the exact same aluminum that is being used in the MacBook Pro, which is great. Still doesn't really help the fact that the front of it is still glass, and there's not really much of a lip in the front, except unless you buy a case. So if your glass still hits the pavement, you're pretty much still screwed on that one. We definitely still have the 4-inch screen, just like the iPod Touch. So now we got a much longer phone here. Now the phones are just getting longer and wider each time, except I don't think this is getting wider, but it's getting longer to the point where I feel like we're probably just not going to even be able to put it in our pockets anymore eventually. They're just getting way too big, but I digress. That's just the way it is. We still got the fingerprint resistant coating on it. We got the infused multi-touch and screen, giving it its very, very thin form factor this time around. We also got the 1080p camera, as well as a front-facing HD FaceTime camera, which I forgot, the iPod Touch 5th generation also sports that as well. And now we finally get LTE cellular network speeds. So if LTE is available in your area and the speeds are going fine, then hey, you will finally get to be able to use it, and all is well. All right, there's two new things coming on. We now have new Apple earphones, except they're now called EarPods, I believe. Now, it is a complete redesign, and they say this is a one-size-fits-all. Now, I have always had problems with earphones that had to hang on your ear. There's no way it ever hung on my ear. It fell out immediately. But even the ones that I had to push in because of the way my ear is shaped, it still has problems. Like, even if I shove it in as best as I can, it will still pop out while I'm running or working out, which is terribly annoying. Now, will this new design actually be able to stay in just about anybody's ear? I really hope so, because I'm looking for an earphone or earbuds that are definitely gonna just stay in there when I'm being active. I believe it's gonna come out for $29, so it's a little bit more than I want to spend as of right now for earphones, especially since the Sony ones that I have, which everyone was hating on me for not liking it back then, but I do love it now because it's lasted me this long, so it's very, very durable, I would say. I mean, my headphones never usually lasted past a year. Yes, the sound is great still. It's not a thumping bass, it's just a richer bass sound. That's what I keep saying. But anyways, it is a good set of headphones. I do like it. I just wish they would stay in my ears a little bit better. Anyways, moving on. No more 30-pin dock connector. So all your old accessories are now possibly moot, except Apple being Apple, we do have a little connection adapter, so you can pop it into the newer port and therefore have your 30-pin connector still. But if you use it as like a radio clock or something, you know, it's going to be sticking out quite a bit, and it's going to be very flimsy, and I wouldn't trust it to hold, especially if you're going from a 30-pin to something that small. It's probably just going to snap right off. So how are the accessory markets going to handle this, especially for the people who are now going to be in between? Because not everyone's going to get the iPhone 5. With the iPhone 4 going to be free soon for people with a 2-year contract, we're probably going to see a whole new flood of people that have never had smartphones before, and they are going to embrace the fact that they can get an iPhone 4, which is what I have, and it still works very, very well. And so I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting thing to see what other third-party accessories are going to do, especially when you have half the crowd, or more than half the crowd, or maybe less than half the crowd that are going to have the iPhone 5, but then you're going to have this whole new crowd of people that are going to still have the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 4S. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how they're going to deal with that. If they can figure it out, great. My thoughts on the connector, I mean, I guess it was bound to happen. With a thinner connector, you know, less space is needed, and they can jam more stuff into the phones, and that's pretty much what we keep on doing year after year, is more features, and we need more space, but we also wanted to go thinner. So, you know, I mean, that's just how the market is going. Now, I'm just going to do a little disclaimer. I'm by no means like some cell phone guru. This is just my views on that part, but this video is just to kind of give you guys, for who didn't see the event or hear about the event or even know that the event was happening, that yes, there are new iPods, there are new iPhones. They were announced today. One thing real quick, you can start pre-ordering these items on September 14th. The iPhone 5 specifically going to be released in stores on September 21st. Today is September 12th, so you have exactly just another little bit over a day before the pre-ordering madness happens. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely hop on over to apple.com and get yourself the new iPod sets, or hopefully get yourself on an iPhone 5. I unfortunately will probably not be getting any of these because I still have plenty of tech that works just fine for me for what I need right now, but I'm definitely very, very, very interested in the new iPod Nano. I'm really digging the design. Not really going to need the iPod Touch because I have the iPhone 4, and that's just how I'm going to be using it. So that's what I'm looking for. What are your thoughts? I mean, do you have any questions that you want me to look into a little bit more for you, or my opinions? Leave it down in the comment below. And for any of our new outlooks, especially, we got some new text that is coming in, and we're going to throw those reviews out for you. So please subscribe to our channel, and we will get those videos out as soon as we can on hopefully a one video a week basis. And so yes, please subscribe, that way you get a notification when they go up, and we'll see you later.